All right, cyber traders, welcome on back and good morning to all this Thursday, April 21st, shortly after 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Great to see Cliff, Patrick, Steve, Mark, Felix, Leda, Alex, Bobby, and all of us live inside the cyber group room. For all of us on social media, once again, second time this week. You could tell this is not the voice of one Fausto Pugliese. I like to say my name is Josh Levitan. Great to see all of us on social media as well, though. Listen, you heard it from Fausto yesterday. He didn't exactly have the best start to this week, of course. So he ended up actually going away. I think that was planned anyway with family. So spending a little time, I think, in Delaware with some family, around there. So hey, I hope he enjoys the time away, the time off. That's part of what we do here as day traders, right? We look to get in and out, and we don't need to be here all day. Right, and especially Fausto. So he ended up taking the next couple of days off. So for all of us on social media, you got me here at least in the mornings for today and tomorrow. But let's hop to it, folks. We have the CYN trade on the screen to begin. We have a couple of good movers from today. I normally don't trade pre-market. I normally have too much crap on my plate here, really, at CTU, just answering emails, doing PowerPoints for Fausto at times in the morning. So I don't always have the chance to trade pre-market. I didn't catch the CYN. I ended up catching the American Airlines trade, though. So we'll go over both of those. We'll go over a couple of the stocks that we ended up trading from yesterday, and then ultimately, much like we always do here in the morning meeting, we'll look to rescan the market, see what else we could put on the watch list going into the market open. So CYN right now, it ended up making a big pop shortly after 8:30, ended up popping from 110 upwards to 2 and above, and then from there has had a hard time trying to move up higher, making actually like a really clean rounded top and beginning to pull back down. So quick news update. I'm your newsman once again for this morning. CYN shares trading higher after the company announced the official launch of Drive Mod Kit, a turnkey autonomous vehicle solution. That sounds cool. All right. Well, nonetheless, led to a big pop. Stock's been taking a beating though from like the beginning of last year all the way till now, basically. So, I don't think this would be the exact type of stock you'd want to swing trade per se. You never know what could end up being an incredible short squeeze throughout the week. But definitely as a day trade to begin. Hey, we'll put this on our watch list for right now. The CYN trade. And then alongside that, hey, going into the pre-market this morning, this wasn't even on the pre-market list. It had popped after 8:30. We had only like 3 or 4 stocks featured on the pre-market list. I kind of tagged the airlines collectively on the pre-market list at least, but American Airlines in particular ended up posting earnings. So let me just get that out for you folks here. The earnings report on American Airlines, obviously up, near 11% still here, although kind of dropping off from 22. American Airlines, their quarter one EPS ended up beating the estimate. Their sales beat the estimate. And this is the kicker normally. And they ended up raising quarter two guidance. So, or issuing quarter two guidance, allow me to say. So with that, hey, made a big pop early in the pre-market this morning, but I ended up catching this trade. It was right off an iceberg level, so I would love to bring up level 4. I'm not in it right now, and I did that mainly just to get out before we started this meeting. I'm happy I ended up getting out at least, but it was on a smaller share size, wasn't on anything crazy. It's to say that once this ended up breaking under and over off the 21.25 here, it led to a beautiful bounce. So for the news that came out on American Airlines, you'd hope to see some sort of move upward, throughout pre-market or after the market opens. So for something as liquid as this, I gave it a shot, and with that, ended up making a nice break off that 21.25 iceberg level, and then I ended up getting out with a 38-cent profit. I got out right around 21.65, so led to a good trade, but ended up pushing a bit higher. There was a couple of big prints on the tape that were filled from pre-market early. Those big dots that you see on Bookmap, they're about it could be the same person, but 200,000 shares filled off 21.46. They ended up getting out just a few minutes later, just a bit later on off of 21.75. So, those are two big levels to keep in mind. Outside of that, I would just say keep an eye on the 22 level up top, about 87,000 shares, 88,000 shares on the offer right now. I'm sure that's only going to get a lot bigger once the market does open, right? But yeah, I mean, hey, just for right now, just wanted to start off showing a couple of the stocks that we were calling out from pre-market. I'll put the American Airlines trade on the watch list here too. All right, we had a decent afternoon yesterday, although I was teaching in class. We had a couple of good stocks that we were following on the way down here. So give me a quick moment. Roblox, Netflix, obviously, but that's a little bit more expensive. RBLX ended up making a huge drop off yesterday morning from 41 just all the way down, clean shot to sub 36. Ended up dropping all the way down there roughly by 10:15 Eastern, and then from there, more so heading into the early or mid to late afternoon, even ended up beginning to pull back down. We thought it was going to make a really good sweep of the lows again, and then even break lower. From there, ended up just beginning to bounce back up a bit into consolidation. But at least this one was so nice to us in the morning as a short. I wanted to just check back in on this trade in the pre-market. It's just a good sideless stock. It's not up a lot. It's trading good volume in pre-market. I'm sure when the market opens up, it'll become more liquid. So this could be a good sideless stock to follow, but I'm not really going to put this on the main special list just yet. We had the LGVN trade on the way up yesterday, ended up making more of a run for us heading into the early afternoon, right around 1 p.m. Eastern time. That's when we really first started to catch it. I'm not going to sit here and lie to you and say, hey, we got this right off the breakout here. No, it was like super low volume at the time. So, it was moving up. I mean, it was climbing up the gainers list, rightfully so at the time. But we ended up having our eyes on it as it ended up beginning to break the high off the false breakout at first. And then from there, well, it ended up thankfully building back up for us once again heading into the early afternoon, broke above the 1150 level. From there, took off. But again, this one, unlike the RBLX, unlike it, if you look at level 3, I mean, this is just pre-market right now, so yeah, perhaps it'll fill in more after the open, but it was really thin. This is not the type of stock as an inexperienced day trader or newly enrolled student here for you to follow. It is not. Hey, ended up making a big pop, but ended up dropping off very sharply afterwards. If you don't know how to follow something, either this volatile or this thinly traded, it would not make sense for you to trade a lot of money on it, trade a lot of shares, risk a lot of your, hard-earned money, as I like to phrase it in class. Hey, good sideless stock once again. It's trading about 62K this morning in terms of volume. The AMC trade, which was a good short from yesterday, mainly in the morning. Similar move to Roblox, but this one ended up breaking down lower heading into the close. So this one was a pretty good short. We had the BAOS trade, I think, little pop at least taking us into the early afternoon from 1 upwards to 140, close to 150. Hey, this one was really liquid, unlike actually that LGVN. This one actually had a really tight spread liquid order book. But hey, the same thing happened to this as the LGVN. It dropped off really sharply after. So, although this was liquid on the order book, it normally doesn't trade a lot of volume day to day. So that's where you got to be careful too. All right. So all in all, we had a decent outing yesterday. It's been a really good week altogether. Obviously, the market has been pushing up pretty nicely for us, at least since tax day, pretty much. Hopefully, we have another nice run up this morning. So with that, let's just go across the gainers and losers lists here, folks, and we'll see what else we got. Normally, we're not as much of a fan of like the real cheapies below $1. We're not like looking to trade like penny stocks or stocks that are below $1. GFAI, we're actually familiar with, ended up making a big run for us back in March, and broke above $1 and moved up at that point. So this one's familiar, right? Ended up making a big pop after 7 o'clock, 70 cents upwards to like close to $1 here after 8 o'clock, but flat. It's not doing a whole lot right now at this point. I'm going to pass on it. All right, a stock I'm not going to pass on at least just yet. The MULN trade. This one we ended up putting on the pre-market watch list. Also one that we're extremely familiar with back from March time. This was one of the energy oil stocks, I think. And if I'm wrong on that, then perhaps this was EV affiliated. But nonetheless, MULN ended up making a huge run for us back then in early March, off $1 upwards to 4 plus. Dropped off quite a bit after. So, I'll say this here, as I say on a lot of these former runners, if we can see this stock make a fraction of the type of run it made for us back in March, go up 4x, I'll take it. Brian and Cliff there helping me out there on that MULN trade. It is EV related, not energy oil related. I think I got that mixed up with IMPP, if I'm not mistaken. I get those two tripped up, my trader's dyslexia. All right, so MULN at least goes on the watch list for right now. Definitely more of a level 1, maybe level 2 stock, if anything. It's not going to be volatile. It would be a great introductory type of stock for any of our newly enrolled students. CRXT though, I mean, more volatile than MULN, but at least a really liquid order book here in pre-market, right? This one was a crazy mover from yesterday. Ended up popping from like 2 all the way up towards close to 4. Topped off, I think, off 385 there, and then pulled back down really sharply, taking us into the afternoon. So, that was a big pop and drop type of play. And then with now, or with this morning in pre-market, we ended up seeing the stock make a nice slingshot roughly after 8 o'clock. Bounce from 210 up to 270, and for right now, trying to shake around here. Let me bring Bookmap up one more time. Here's my American Airlines. Here's CRXT. So CRXT, you happen to have here a couple of big iceberg orders on the bid popping up, and this was shortly after 8:30. So that was at $2.20, and then from there at 227. These two orange lines here. So, hey, it seems like someone's trying to squeeze this stock up for right now. Nonetheless, there's still an order on the ask for it to break over at $2.63. So keep an eye on that, and we'll keep this CRXT on the watch list. All right. Let's see what else we got here, folks. We'll keep it going. We'll keep it moving. We want to make sure our students have enough time to prep and make sure they're ready to go heading into the market open. So it's not just about me taking time scanning the market. It's a matter of us identifying big levels and just making sure that we're prepped and ready to go. We're not rushed. CGRN, this one we had called out after 8 o'clock. Nice little pop up at first, but then it pulled back sharply. This stock actually is shortable. It actually is shortable. So, for what it's worth, if it continues to dump off, it could be a good trade going down. Perhaps this could make a nice bounce after the market opens. Looks like some buying finally came in off the 4 level there. I don't know. I feel like there's better stocks than this even right now heading into the open. I'll even slip this on the side list. If we come down to it at the end and check this one out again, perhaps I'll add it, but I want to see what else is on there. Obviously, Tesla ended up making a big push up, more so, from the after hours yesterday, but another big push this morning in pre-market. So, that was earnings related, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think they ended up having any changes to their digital asset portfolio, Elon and them. All right, got a bunch of price targets and firms giving different upgrades or updates on their standings with Tesla. Seeing price targets anywhere between 1,300 to 375. How about that? That doesn't give us too much information, but with the earnings coming out yesterday afternoon on Tesla, we ended up seeing a big move. Perhaps some of the other EV stocks could look to go with it. That could be a thought. So hey, that MULN, right? That's EV related, right? How about my NEO? It's only up 2% here, actually. And it's very choppy this morning. So I'm not really too particular about NEO this morning. The GM trade, very spotty in pre-market, doing jack, honestly. XPEV, another EV related company, Chinese, EV auto company. So, this one also pretty flat. We'll check on these more after the market opens, and perhaps some of the other EV related stocks if Tesla can make a nice squeeze. But if Tesla makes a nice squeeze after the open, that means that the entire market is likely making that squeeze with it. Likely, not guaranteed, but should that be the case, then why not follow some of the other major name brand stocks, especially like American Airlines, like we talked about, coming off of news of its own, earnings of its own. Them, United Airlines, that could tag along with it. So I'm going to collectively just label the airlines on the watch list. I'll single AAL out just because that's like, the most tradable in the sense of price and liquidity. But UAL, JetBlue, Save, blah, blah, blah. All right. Let's see what else we got here, folks. Across the gainer side, there's JetBlue. I don't really see many other familiar names that look that great. $127 stock here, BX. All right, let's hop on over to the losers list here. For the last 5 minutes, I don't know if you've been hearing that in the background of this audio broadcast I've been doing. I don't know, but for the last 5 minutes, I've had this sparrow like pecking at my window as loud as you could possibly imagine. I kind of trooped through that pretty nicely. That was pretty crazy. I wish we have a webcam to show on the window I have here. That was wild. Nonetheless, XRX leading off the losers list, not technically leading off, it's number 2, but it is shortable. Ended up dropping off early this morning. Xerox, I honestly didn't even realize they were still around. I'm sure they do a bunch of business commercially, but I didn't even realize they're still around. I know they've been around obviously forever. They ended up having earnings. Looks like their EPS quarter 1 is down year over year. Their sales beat the estimate. But that's all I got. So for right now, I mean, hey, it's just a tradable stock and it's shortable. Hey, we'll take it. XRX, we'll put on the watch list. Hopefully that bird does not come back. Mark says, glad it's not a woodpecker. I don't know, man. I don't know what bird that was, but that was different than the one from the last few weeks. Holy crap. That was loud. All right, enough of that. Let's see what else is on this losers list for right now. You never know what you get here in these meetings, folks. All right, let's see what else we got. Honestly, I wasn't thrilled with pre-market when I scanned really early at 8 o'clock Eastern time. Of course, things could easily change within a moment's notice, but uh, right now it doesn't really seem like I'm seeing much else that looks great. I know that ALVR we did trade from yesterday, so we'll give this a quick shout. Popped after the market opened up yesterday, but look at where it is here. So, not really too interested in following this just yet this morning. We'll pass. All right, folks. Aside from that, if there's anything else that you have up, down, left, right, more than 5%, type it in the chat board. Let me know here pretty quick. Patrick on the not Roblox, Redbox, my dyslexia here. RDBX. Hey, it's really active, right? I actually did not cover this one just yet. It was dropping off in pre-market really early. It's still tailing down. I hope that this finds some legs. It's not a really volatile stock, so I would definitely say this one could go on our watch list, RDBX. But just follow the trend leading into the open. That's not the type of trend you want to follow here, at least heading into the open, this downtrend. So, it leads me to think so far that we'll only continue to see this drop off. Just from that point, we got to make sure this breaks under, then back over major support, perhaps off the 250 level. Ron with a couple of shorts. Alcoa, that's one of his favorite stocks I know from over the years. Down big. It is down over 9%. And it is on the way down, like trending down really nicely. It is shortable, right? So it's hard to not actually put this on our watch list. A little expensive, so that's the only thing I'll say. But this is actually normally a pretty liquid stock to follow. Alcoa, trades several million shares a day. So you know what? That looks good. CENX, not so much, Ron. Definitely not yet. Down big technically, it's 7+%, but I mean, it's only trading 12K. You know that that's not tradable yet, right? I mean, but the other one though, that one looks good. That Alcoa, I like. SEV from Glenn asking my thoughts on it. Ooh, the hell happened here? Big pop at least after 9 o'clock. I forgot to go over this at least from this morning. Failed to cover the afternoon pop that we had, right? Ended up making a big move. It was actually more so from the late morning, if I'm not mistaken, right? Yeah, ended up starting off, I mean, early pre-market. After the open, we had a pop, but then really taking us into the early afternoon, it was making this slow, gradual trend up. It honestly doesn't look like a lot compared to, the real explosive move that it made later on. But really, from the beginning of the early afternoon, we started to follow this on the way up, hopeful for a type of breakout. And then it was really heading into the final 30 minutes, ended up exploding, and then in the after hours going again. Hey, it's up that 4 or 5% or so that I asked for, and I forgot about this actually. So, given this pop here, I'm interested in it. I don't like the reaction off the pop, that's for sure. Anytime you see a pop and then instantly a drop right back down, that's no bueno. But I like the activity on this at least. I'll slip this on the back end of the watch list. I do like the CRXT more. I like that Alcoa more as a short. And the American Airlines is a long, perhaps, if that can keep going with the market after the open. All right, so folks, I think that we're going to close the show for this morning. I'll be back on the sticks later on this afternoon for all of us on Facebook Live and YouTube. If you wanted to continue our audio broadcast or audio commentary inside the Cyber Group room, just go right down to the link on the blue banner below of the stream. If you're joining us on social media, you can join us for a small week-long trial. You don't have to begin today, even. You could begin as next week. All right, but otherwise, for Brian, Norman, Ron, Glenn, Mark, Patrick, where are the ladies here of the room? I see Nina. I saw Leda just before, And I'm sure all of us otherwise coming up. Karen, Barbara, there we go. There we go. The ladies of the trading room there. I look forward to talking to everybody coming up, though, shortly after the market opens up. Now, just give me a few moments to copy and tweet the picks, and then I'll be back on right at the opening bell, folks. Talk to you all soon.
A Cyber Group member today. Just click the link below and receive all these amazing products and a world of knowledge for just